Well, hello, West Side. We are so excited. Here we are, week 2 of Legendary Living, and we are talking about the legend beyond the legend, I guess is how you say it.
Yeah, legends behind the legend.
Yeah, something like that. Oh, man, and this is great. I'm Melissa. I am Pastor Gabe's wife, and I also get to run events and social media around here.
And I'm Rachel. I helped coordinate Gather 25, and I serve on the worship and the online team.
That's right. Oh, yes, I love that. Well, we are chatting today on Sarah, waiting on the promises. And this is coming from Genesis 21. It comes from a few spaces in Genesis, but Genesis 21 is the finale, I guess you could say. But I get Sarah. Like, I get her. Like, I can connect with her. So, yeah. I mean, she was one of those gals in the Bible that was a little bit impatient, kind of jumped onto her own way of doing things, which I've done that before.
Yeah.
I think we all have.
Yeah.
But also she kind of giggled when God laid out the promise for her and Abraham, her husband. And she was like, yeah, right. I'm 90 years old and I'm going to start having kids. I'm thinking, no, thank you. But that was the promise. That was a promise God had given them so long before. And by the time they were this age, they were thinking, there's no way this is going to happen, is it? You know? And then here we are in the story. And spoiler alert, it happens.
Hey.
But have you ever felt like you've waited on something? Like you waited, I have been waiting so long for this, and it hasn't happened yet, or it finally happened, that kind of thing. Do you have anything like that?
Yeah. On kind of a tough subject, I've felt like I've been depressed since kindergarten. I can literally remember in kindergarten feeling just so isolated, so alone, so depressed, and like I didn't even want to be there, like here. And so, and I still a lot of times do feel like that. It's gotten a lot better, and I've, found Jesus, so that's obviously helped.
It's a help, but there's still struggles in this world.
Right? Exactly.
So you're still waiting, would you say?
I would say.
For complete deliverance, you've come a long way, but you feel like you're still waiting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a hard one. And I know a lot of people that struggle with that.
Yeah.
Gosh, I was thinking about this question because I was just thinking about Sarah. And I was just thinking, I've waited on some stuff. Like, I mean, I remember when my mom was in the hospital and she was getting ready to pass. And I was just thinking, God, are you going to deliver her? Like, we're all praying so passionately on our knees, just praying so passionately. The answer was no. He did, in a way, take care of her because he took away her pain and took her to heaven with him. What a blessing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't what I wanted.
Right.
But God knows better than me.
Right.
God knows more than me.
Exactly.
And I have to be okay with that kind of stuff. But sometimes you wait and wait and wait and you don't feel like you're quite delivered. And sometimes you wait and wait and the answer is no. And sometimes you wait and wait and the answer is yes. Those are my favorite.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, for sure.
Those are my favorite ones. So waiting is one of the hardest parts of faith. But like Sarah, we learn that even when our faith feels shaky, God's promises are steady. And I love that.
Absolutely.
Good?
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and give some biblical context about Sarah.
Yeah.
So her story starts all the way back in Genesis, the very first book of the Bible. And God actually called her and Abraham to leave everything that was familiar, to go to a land, which, by the way, he didn't actually tell them where he was wanting them to go.
Yeah.
So that's a little scary. But yeah, and then he promised them that their descendants would be more numerous than the stars in the sky. And like
100 years later.
Yeah, literally.
Wait, what?
Yeah. And so it took decades, exactly, for that to happen. And then some historical context for that was that, Abraham was 100 years old when Isaac was born. Sarah was 90 years old. Woo. And so culturally, and I would say scientifically, like that doesn't seem possible.
It doesn't make sense. You can't have a baby at 90, but...
Yeah, as far as we know, right? But
With God.
God knows different. So in a time when having children defined legacy and identity,
it did.
Sarah's long waiting would have felt like failure. But God's delays are never God's denials.
Yes.
And the promise came exactly when he said it would, which we can see in Genesis 21, verse 1 and 2, right at the beginning.
I love that. Yep. Well, here's some insights. Sarah laughed, which I think is so funny. So when she first found out that she was going to have a baby, she overheard someone telling Abraham, if I remember right, from Genesis 18. And she giggled. She was like, well, okay, yeah, I'm going to have a kid. But you know when she laughed again? In Genesis 21, when she had Isaac, and she laughed because she was like, I can't believe this happened. And I've done that before. When a miracle or something happened, I'm just like, oh, there you go, God, showing off again. Like, there you go, you doing you. Exactly. And I love that. I think that's super cool. So, man, she was joyful when she ended up having her Isaac. Her story shows us that doubt and faith can coexist, and God can redeem both. And I love the thought of faith and doubt coexisting, because I think every person in the world has had doubts. How can you live in this world and not have doubts?
Yeah.
Man, but there's also this level of faith you have to have when you're resting on God. You're saying, you know what? He knows better. He does better. He's got, the big picture in mind. We see just our little narrow area. And so it's harder for us to gauge everything. And so resting in him, even in our doubts, it's okay.
Yeah.
He can handle that, right?
Actually, I wrote down Psalm 55:22. Give your burdens to the Lord and he will take care of you. He will not permit the godly to slip and fall.
Ooh.
And I've heard that before.
Yeah.
But I was reading it the other day and I was like, went back and I was like, give your burdens to the Lord and he will take care of you. Yeah. Not just like, oh, God's got me. I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
But once we give those burdens to him, it's like we open the door for him to help us even more.
That's true. That's true. I was thinking about her name, and her name in the earlier part of Genesis, she was Sarai, like Sarai, my princess. It was a personal thing, but God changed her name to Sarah, which is the princess of nations. So it's generational. And she got that name before she had kids, which I thought was funny. Another promise, another glimpse into what God was planning that she didn't know yet. And so I love that. And so God widened her influence before the promise was even fulfilled. And it also reminds me of Hebrews 11:11. By faith, even Sarah, who was past childbearing age, was enabled to bear children because she considered him faithful who had made the promise. So she wasn't relying on herself. She was like, I can't do this. There's a 90-year-old woman. It's not happening, God. Yeah. But with God, all things are possible, right? And so she rested in that, and her influence grew, and her generational influence was huge and expansive, and we still have it today. So it's pretty cool. So the transformation wasn't about what Sarah could do. It was about who she believed God was. And I think that's a big challenge for us a lot of times, because especially like me, I guess maybe I'm controlling, but I feel like I'm like, I got this. I got this, God. Just step back. I got this. But there's a time where we just need to sit at the foot of Jesus and say, you know what? I don't got this. Yep. And I'm waiting for the deliverance. I'm waiting for the promise that you're going to deliver me, that you're going to do whatever you said you're going to do for me. And I'm going to wait in faith that you're going to come through because you're God.
Yeah.
And I trust you. And even if it doesn't go my way, I'm still going to trust your big picture more than me. So, she had faith and she believed that God was bigger. So I love that.
Yeah, me too. Even if it was just like she doubted it at first, right?
Oh, yeah. She giggled.
Yeah.
We all do that.
Right? Yeah. And for us, we might not be waiting on having a baby at 90 years old, right? But we all know what it's like to wait for God in something. Yep. And so maybe you're waiting for healing, for direction, for reconciliation, a purpose. Maybe you're waiting for a loved one to come back to Jesus or to find Jesus.
Yes.
And in that waiting, that reveals what we trust. It's where our obedience grows roots.
Isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
That's the time that you lean in on Jesus.
Yes.
It's the time that you're like, you know what? I need God. And I'm at the bottom of the barrel right now. All I can do is look up and be like, God, help me.
Yeah.
But that's when the foundation starts to develop and those roots grow deep. And I love that.
Exactly.
That's good.
I know, and sometimes we try to avoid those types of moments in our life.
We do.
Right? Even though that's the times that we're the closest to God a lot of the times.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a lot of times we get up, we're in the valley and we're looking to God. And then we get on these mountaintops and we forget about God.
Right.
Because it's all good. We don't need you. We're good.
Right.
But it's really true. Those roots are just formed in that valley.
Yeah. Well, and sometimes, like Sarah, in the valley, we don't think we need God either. She's like, oh, I'm going to try to force the outcome. Right?
She
and
did
take it into her own hands.
Yeah. She's like, okay, you take my maidservant.
Yes.
you get her pregnant, and that'll start to think, well, that just caused a whole nother wealth of problems.
Right.
That was not a good idea. But
Yeah.
there she was trying to take it in her own hands.
Yep.
I would have done the same thing. Just being honest.
Yeah. Yep. But God's promises still stand.
Yeah.
Even through
It
the
did.
doubts, even through the detours. And the life hack here is simple, but it's hard. God's promises are worth the wait, even when you laugh at the thought. And I was reading Genesis again, Genesis 18, verse 14. After she giggled, God said, "Is anything too hard for the Lord?"
Yeah.
He said that.
Yeah. Step back, girl.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yep. And then 2 Peter 3, verse 9 says, "The Lord is not slow in keeping his promise,
That's right.
as some understand slowness. Instead, he is patient with you."
He's patient with you. Yep.
Yeah. So my question for you guys is, what might God be growing in you during the waiting? Patience, trust, obedience.
Isn't that the truth? It's like when we look at those waiting times, I think it's richer when we're waiting, when we're thinking like that. How is God pruning me right now? How is God building me right now? What is he doing to make me a better person?
Yeah.
Because that happens in the valleys a lot.
Yes.
It's not the shiny moments. It's those really sucky moments
Yeah.
that develop us into the great character and influential people we end up being.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. Sarah's story reminds us that faith isn't about perfection. Faith isn't about perfection. It's about persistence. And I love that because sometimes we're always looking at perfection.
Yeah.
It's like, no, be consistent in my walk. Be consistent in what God has called me to do. Even when we doubt, even when we laugh in disbelief, God keeps his word. He always keeps his word. Now in your group today, you'll talk about what waiting looks like in your life, where God might be asking you to keep trusting, and what promises you're holding on to. Remember, obedience positions us for blessings. God's timing may feel slow, but it's never late. And this reminds me of my friend Nate Culp's mama. She always said, God is seldom early, right?
Yeah.
But he's never late. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. So we just stay the course, keep trucking along, be persistent, keep going. God's going to deliver this. God's going to get to you. He's going to do great things in you. Maybe he's not going to answer everything. You're not going to get the generational, blessings of a zillion kids like Sarah ended up having. But how are you growing during the waiting time? And what's it doing in your life? Is it making you a better person while you wait or a bitter person while you're waiting? Because I've seen both. And I think it's really, really important that we're growing and strengthening as we are waiting on God's deliverance. And whatever it is, maybe you're waiting for a message from the doctor. Maybe you're waiting for that loved one to come back to Christ like you were saying. And we all are waiting for some people like that.
Yep. I'm sure.
Maybe you're waiting for that job interview. I know some people looking for jobs hard right now. Maybe you're waiting for that marriage proposal. All that stuff. But how are you growing? What are you doing during the waiting? And let's be like Sarah. Let's be persistent. We may giggle a little bit, but let's stay the course and keep going. God's got great plans for you.